Hello, welcome back. It's me, CB, Amariah CB Hash, kicking it in the CB Hash Chat Studios for episode 3 of my Carnivore Diaries. We're calling it week 3, even though we've begun week 4. Week 3 is in the books. Today is actually day number 23. So this is a Tuesday for me in Reno, Nevada, where I live. And 3 weeks was on Sunday. I'm going for 3 years. If you don't know, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the show. 3 years, all meat, salt, and water. Now, currently, I am enjoying a cup of coffee, as you've seen me do from time to time here on the channel. I'll be giving that up eventually at some point, but there is still a lot to discover, a lot to know. I've got some important information that I found this week that I want to share with you. And basically, come along with me on this 3-year journey. After about a year, I plan on honing in the menu a little bit and going potentially on a lion diet. But there's lots to discover, lots to do, and lots to talk about. So I got an unexpected ticket to a Web3 conference in Austin, Texas. So I'm leaving for Austin, Texas in a few hours. Shout out to all those who have been commenting on the videos and who have been commenting on Facebook, on X, on all the social platforms. I don't have an Instagram up yet, but I plan on getting one going. Been a lot of support. Appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with anybody you think might benefit from this video. But we'll get it started. So first of all, I want to say, what am I drinking? I said water. Water is true, but I love water. And in particular, I love sparkling water. Now, I always say, oh, those naturally flavored sparkling waters that are blackberry flavor or, pineapple or whatever, they're made from chemicals that are constructed in a lab in New Jersey. I don't know that to be fact. That's just something that I surmise, something that I guess, something that I say. I think it's a bit cheeky, which means funny in some countries. But in reality, is it natural if it's constructed by man? I tend to think not. So my family and I, we moved away from the sparkling waters that had flavoring in it. And we moved to a sparkling water called Spindrift, which had natural fruit juice in it. Pineapple, mango, blood orange, and grapefruit were basically what we had in the house at all times. But now going on the carnivore diet, I still want that sparkling water. So I do pure sparkling water. Now, many of you know the LaCroix, I guess is what people say. I don't know. I love it because it's bubbly and it's just water. It says only carbonated water on the label. And so there's that brand. And then there's another brand locally here in Nevada called Polar. I think it's Polar Ice. But again, it's just carbonation and water. So that's it. That's what I drink is a lot of sparkling water and then just regular water with ice. I haven't added any electrolytes or anything additional in. I actually haven't done much of adding salt to my water, which is something I've heard people do. So for now, though, I'm just trying to hone in and get an understanding of eating all meat. And, with the addition of salt, I've cut out all the other seasoning. So no pepper, no onion, no garlic, none of that. Just salt. So today I did my first giant brisket. I think it takes about 14 hours to do my brisket. I just salted it for the first time ever. And I'll tell you what, brisket has got a lot of fat in it and it tastes great, especially when your body is on this diet. You are craving fat. Your body uses the fat in the most efficient manner, utilizing all of it because you're not getting nutrition from anywhere else. So I will go through a few concerns that some people have thrown at me, good friends, people I consider family, people that I know are out for my best and care about me. Also, recent update from my doctor on something. I had a heart scan. Maybe it was called a cardiogram or something like that. Basically, putting you through an MRI process for the heart. They took pictures and they let me know where I was on my LDL, on my cholesterol, on my heart disease. How are my arteries? So I'll catch you up on that. And then I'll talk to you about a few mistakes that I've learned that people make on this diet as they're starting out. Also talked to a good friend recently. You know who you are. Shout out. I'm not going to say people's names except for some of the people that are more authorities on the subject and have YouTube channels and such. I'll share who I'm gleaning some information from. But as far as my personal friends and family, I'm not going to call them out specifically. I haven't really asked them permission to do so. And they know who they are. But my friend also had an umbilical hernia, as I have, and they recently got the surgery for it, and it went well. And they touted it as necessary and important to get done. If you saw my Genesis video, which I will be dropping on my YouTube channel, so please go there and at least run through it once so I can get a like, a little thumbs up, get some hours clicked on the algorithm. My doctor said, why don't you take 3 months and try and get rid of some of that fat around your waist before we do surgery. If we even need to do surgery, let's find out. And so I took that very seriously and jumped right into the carnivore diet. Got the Go Carnivore app. That was helpful. And here we are. So that friend said, I had the surgery. It went really, really well. That's awesome. They had some other advice as well. But I'll table that for now. They know who they are, and it's good to see you. Thanks for watching. Right now, we're going to dispel a couple of the myths about the carnivore diet. And I do want to give a shout out to Dr. Ken Berry. This is where I've gotten some good information. Also, Dr. Anthony Chaffee, some good information. And Steak and Butter Gal, SBG, as she affectionately goes by, has also given me a little bit of what the content is today. So you can't come up with all this stuff on your own all the time, but you do the best you can. So I'll definitely be pulling from people along the way. I'll let you know who some of them are. I'll link some of their work below, in particular videos that I pull stuff from, such as this. One of the concerns I've been getting from my family and friends is if you eat so much fat, isn't that bad for you? In particular, saturated fat. Now, doesn't saturated fat lead to heart disease? And Dr. Ken Berry did a great video on dispelling 7 myths. I'm going to talk about a few of them here and a little bit of what he said. You should go check it out. I'll put it in the description of this video. But what he said, basically, that, it's not true, basically. It's not true. Healthy saturated fat does not clog arteries. Also, all you're eating is meat and fat. And I mean, eggs, right? I'm eating eggs currently. Some people are doing milk, and Steak and Butter Gals doing butter, and I'm not doing any of that. But when all you're eating is meat, then you are actually getting all your nutrients, everything that you need from that meat. And fat is the most important one of all because it provides you with what you actually need in order to function as far as brain function and energy. And it uses the fat in the most efficient manner because that's what it's relying on to fuel your entire system. So it isn't true. Saturated fat does not clog your arteries. However, if you eat a lot of saturated fats, especially man-made processed food, things of that nature, then yeah, for sure. If you eat a lot of that, and then you're eating the breads and the fruits and the vegetables, you're getting the oxalate. I mean, yeah. Again, I'm not a doctor like Dr. Ken Berry or Dr. Anthony Chaffee for that matter. But from what I understand, and it makes sense that if that's all you're eating, your body is being very efficient. It is breaking on, it is utilizing that fat and breaking it down. So no great concern. However, I did have a scan of my heart. There are a few arteries, really only two, but one of them in particular, my left, I don't know, down valve for the heart, came back with a number around 20, 21. This is not high. This is mild, but it does say in the report there was a moderate chance of heart attack and that it was a mild heart disease. And I did get a note from my doctor saying, hey, do you want to take some medication to lower your cholesterol? There are risks to taking medication to lower your cholesterol, including kidney failure. Happens in very few people, but there's some gastrointestinal stuff. Basically, it stops your liver from acting out certain processes that create more cholesterol. And so it doesn't allow you to build more cholesterol in the body or something of that nature. Haven't 100% flushed it out. I need to go see my doctor. The doctor that I saw when I did go wasn't my actual doctor. It was a different doctor. And he told me, lose the belly. Hey, what about carnivore? And that's why I'm here, to be honest. Well, I got to check in with my regularly scheduled doctor and talk to her about that too. I tend to not want to go on medication, period. I tend to not want to take some constructed thing by humans to adjust your body, to force your body to do something that it doesn't do or to do something that it needs to do. If it's a life threatening issue, then maybe. But I also want to be aware that I'm 50. My dad had a heart issue. He ended up going for heart surgery and didn't come out of it. And he lost his life. He was 77 years old, so he wasn't a young buck. But I'm 50, 51. I have two daughters, so I'm paying attention. I'm not going to completely ignore it. But just the myth that if you eat saturated fat, it's going to cause heart disease is not true. There are many other factors, many other things. Another one was salt. If you eat that much salt, isn't it going to give you high blood pressure? When all you're eating is meat and salt and water, it can't be overdone. You can't get too much salt. Also, I believe, and this is just my theory, quality of salt. So Celtic salt, as you know, Celtic salt is on my thumbnail and on my intro, and it's an important salt to me. So that's what I'm using a lot, along with other salts, pink Himalayan sea salt and such. And I'll get deeper into salts and get into these electrolytes and make sure that I got my levels of magnesium and calcium and all those things down the road. Right now, I'm still early. I'm still just getting kind of settled into what I'm doing here, gathering knowledge, and then I'll make my play. And I think that feeds in a little bit to what we're going to talk about in a minute is what are some of the mistakes that you can make on this diet. But overall, salt consumption is not a thing unless you're eating processed foods and there's a ton of sodium and you're getting thousands and thousands of milligrams of sodium from different products. That makes a lot of sense. But just eating meat, salt, and water, that's actually not a concern. Blood pressure does not go high. My blood pressure tends to be pretty good. But again, another thing I'll say is that I'm going to be doing labs. I'm going to be taking blood pressure. I'm going to be doing all of those things. I may even wear a CGM, a continuous glucose monitor. Thing is, my daughter has type 1 diabetes, so I can get one pretty easy. They're downstairs. I'll be doing all of those things. And actually, the next episode, what I plan on doing is sharing with you my most recent labs. This is before I started this. And we can go over and look at my numbers, and you'll see some of that higher LDL levels. But salt is not a thing. Microbiomes, you don't have enough of the plethora of differentiated microbes in your gut. You are going to be microbiome deficient. Not true. Dr. Ken Berry, and he said many people he knows, and I trust him as an expert on the subject, said that he got some labs done. He sent some samples out for a look at his gut microbiome, and it was as diverse, if not more diverse, than even those on just a plant-based diet. So I'm not here to fight the meat-based versus plant-based war, but I will say that those that eat just meat and stay to the carnivore diet actually have a very diverse gut microbiome, which is important. And so that's a myth that can be dispelled as well. Last thing I will say is another concern is that someone said, well, what about vitamins? Are you getting what you need? Without sufficient fat intake, it can be a difficult diet. So you got to make sure you're getting plenty of fat along with everything. Thing is, I love fatty steaks, so obviously that's going to happen. You know, in some of the most common deficiencies in the United States, and this is shout out to SBG, Steak and Butter Girl, is vitamin A, B12, B6, iron, zinc, and selenium. These are some of the biggest deficiencies that the normal American diet is missing. And what has the highest philo availability of these? You guessed it, animal proteins, and in particular, red meat. So if I eat those, I'll be getting everything I need. Vitamin C, they say you got to eat a lot of organ meat. Okay, maybe I need to work on the organ meat. I really haven't done that yet, but I've actually been keeping it pretty simple here in the beginning for me. And life is dynamic and busy. I got a child with type 1 diabetes. I'm helping out a few companies. My wife is a great and very busy and amazing job, and we have a home to take care of. And so there's a lot of things going on. I don't have a ton of time to plan everything out perfectly. So I really have just started working out a little bit. I've been running a mile a day. I've been doing 50 push-ups, but not consistently. So I missed a day, do it a day. I have to start that consistently because I've got some big races coming up. So I got some things to get ready for. I got to start getting the body moving again. But the couple of mistakes on the carnivore diet I wanted to mention is one, too limited of a diet. If all you eat is, I'm just going to eat strip steak and bacon and eggs, and that's it, you'll get pretty bored. I think the real concern with this diet is just doing like the lion, which is like just beef, water, and salt. That's it. And so steak, water, salt every day can get boring. I've said I will eat lobster and oysters and shrimp, salmon, pork, chicken, all these things. I got some bison, some ground bison just the other day. I did pork ribs yesterday, just salt, smoke. So I don't know about smoke. I'm going to talk about that. But I did pork ribs. But honestly, I like them, but they're not the same as steak for me for some reason, the fatty steak. I just finished a brisket today. I loved it. I love brisket. I love the flavor of it. And there's a lot of fat in there, which is really, really good. And then also I render the tallow from when I trim the brisket, and I use that to cook my eggs in. But I do eggs and bacon and mostly just steak. I did some pork ribs. I haven't done the salmon. Oh, I went to sashimi actually with my team from a company I'm helping out here called World Mobile. We went to a sushi restaurant, and I love sushi. But the only reason I really love sushi is for wasabi and ginger. But I couldn't have that. So I did have sashimi. So I had like 6 different types of fish. Really, only the salmon was banger though, like really good. You could tell my body was really into that. But other than that, I've not branched out a ton on the different types of meat. I will hopefully mix in some of these other things, in particular seafood. I'm very interested in having some of that, at least for this first year. And then we'll probably go lion. So, hone it down to ruminants and meat and salt. But for now, one of the mistakes that people make is they just keep it very, very strict and too limited. And then the other mistake they make is not eating enough. I don't think that's going to be a problem with me. I don't know. I think I mentioned in the beginning, weight is not a focus. My weight is down 1 pound in the last week. Now, this is after the first 15 days, 15 pounds in the first 16 days or 15 days or so. And then 1 pound this last week. I'm not looking for that big drop on the scale, but I will say that there's one thing I'm not doing here is I'm not keeping shy on the food. I'm eating a lot of food. And the truth is that you shouldn't undereat on this diet if you want to get really used to doing it. As you go along, once you get comfortable with it, you've hit your sweet spot, you know how to respond to your body when it's hungry and fill yourself up, then you can start honing things in a little bit, and you can start counting how many grams of protein are you consuming, how many calories. I still haven't started that in my journey yet either. So not a huge concern for me, but a concern nonetheless. So lastly, I'll just say I need to send off my labs. I will go over the old labs with you in the next episode, and then I'll look to get some labs done sometime in that week. I need to give up coffee, but I rue the day because I've been relying on coffee for most of my adult life and some of my teenage years. I love my sparkling water. Ribeyes are expensive, but if I can find them on a deal, I'm in. I am considering purchasing a half of a cow. I am also considering buying a chuck roll, which is an entire shoulder of a cow, and then cutting it up myself, getting a meat grinder and grinding my own meat. There's a lot of things that are to come, but there's a lot to talk about and a lot to discuss. I am grateful for how I feel. I feel really good. I feel good energy. I sleep well. Nothing has changed with that. I still enjoy my time with my family. Dinners are not hard for me as far as sitting down while other people are eating things, because I love to eat and I eat plenty. So I'm generally satisfied, and I can sit with my family and enjoy watching them eat the food that they eat. But that's it for now. I will check back next week, and we'll have another episode, and we'll do this for 3 years, and we'll see where it all takes us. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. I will respond to your comments, questions, comments, preguntas, comentarios, concerns, anything at all. Go ahead and drop it in the comments. I will get back to you. Always down to chat personally. If you are out there on your own journey and you're in social media, you want to jump on my show and do a little spot, sometime we can do that. I will also be taking you out on training, and that's a big thing for me, is how do I train for hours and hours running and bicycling and stay on this diet. So thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you being here with me. I'm Amariah CB Hash, and this is my Carnivore Diaries.